Talk about starless, okay? Baby, we got some tea for y'all today, okay? And this is exclusively from Love B. Scott. So, I don't know if you know, but Love B. Scott has the track record, okay, for the tea, okay? So, as we talk about this, take this seriously, okay? Because it looks as though the Real Housewives of Atlanta may be indeed starless for season 16. What do I mean by that? Well, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it as much as we don't want to talk about it. The exclusive reads the headline: Reboot in the works for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Production is demanding fresh new peaches after a disastrous season. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just give you the tea. All right. And then we'll talk about the tea. Okay. Tea and talk, tea and talk, tea and talk. Okay. All right. So the sources are exclusively telling Love B. Scott that production made the call to recast the entire show at some point during the taping of the season 15 reunion. Apparently, a source that is close to production. You know, it's always like you all like I be like, who the leaky faucet? But somebody is telling the tea, okay? And listen, I hear over here. I'm thankful. Okay. Somebody got to spill it because we need to know. Because I need to be boycotting this. Okay. A source close to production is telling Love B. Scott that Bravo is beyond thrilled with the reception of the recently rebooted Real Housewives of New York. So they're fully on board with production's decision to recast Real Housewives of Atlanta. The network is very pleased with the upcoming seasons of the Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. So what I'm hearing is, or what it feels like is that, with Married to Medicine, of course, as I've tried to tell you, being one of, if not the best show on Bravo, okay? You guys just don't know it right now. Like if you're not watching it, if you haven't been a fan since season one, it's so it is so underrated. And with the Real Housewives of Potomac, I mean, they making waves whether we like the it's like having a cast where you don't necessarily like everybody, but they make good TV and you just be like it's a frustrating watch sometimes, but Beverly Hills is also a frustrating watch sometimes for me. But I love Beverly Hills and I love Potomac. That's right down the street. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult, man. It's difficult. Um Now, to be quite honest with y'all, I ain't really watched a lot of the reboot because I felt like I did watch the first episode and it just didn't hold my interest like that. But I'm gonna try to give it another go because people are talking about it, but I just really ain't. I mean, it just ain't really giving what I need. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, to continue, it says casting for fresh new peaches is underway. Production has been quietly reaching out to managers and agents looking for new girls, and there is no interest in bringing back any old faces either, not Portia Guabadia nor Kim Zolciak. Let's talk about the Portia element of it all because we've often talked about the season missing Portia, or even cast members have talked about wanting to work with Portia. Courtney Rhodes has mentioned, Portia in her interview, and Sonya has mentioned, Portia as part of her dream cast. However, Portia has indicated in recent interviews that it would take a whole lot of money for her to come back. And is the network willing to shell out that type of money? I don't think so. It doesn't sound like it, okay? Unless you're going to take out some other peaches that's making a whole lot of money and you're going to dump it into Portia and build some new girls around her, which, I mean, that could potentially work. I don't really know. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Um, it says, the production is looking for all new peaches, and that it's possible one or two peaches stick around as friends. Similar to the revamped Real Housewives of Miami, it all depends on how casting goes. It's possible that Real Housewives of Atlanta could go on a brief hiatus to give them extra time to get the casting just right. You know, another show that did this, but they did it, I thought they did it well, was the Real Housewives of New York when they rebooted for season 5. It was like a soft reboot. They kept 3 originals. They kept Luann, Sonia, and Ramona, and they brought in Heather, Carol, and Aviva. And that to me worked out really well. So you keep 3 so that you keep that audience. And even Miami kept a solid group. They brought back Larsa, who was there from in season 1. They kept Alexia, who has been there throughout all this time, and then you brought in 4 new women. Well, Lisa Hodgson as well, because she came in around season what? She came in season 2. So you kept that core group. You kept a core group, and then you had Adriana, whatever, one of the two, Adriana, and Marisol as friends, but then you gave a new story as well with some new ladies. So I feel like a soft reboot is probably a better idea for Atlanta, more so than a total reboot. Because y'all remember they tried to do that show, The New Atlanta. Do y'all remember that? Tell me if you remember that show, The New Atlanta. Did not last but a season. Okay. And it wasn't supposed to be a housewife show. It was basically guys and girls cast. Chime in if you remember it. All right, so to continue, um, the article goes on to state, as reported, you know, Atlanta's been difficult to cast. And again, I think it's difficult to cast because you have major names in that mix. So how do you cast? Do you bring in more major names? No. I think you test and test and test, like Kenya said, and that's how you find the best fit for that group. All right. Um, but the cast being notoriously difficult to cast is apparently why only a few current housewives have gotten peaches in the first place. All right, then they go on to state that Bravo and production are concerned with fan feedback that this has been the worst season of the show in a long time, if not ever. Production sources are telling B. Scott and the team that several of the later episodes were re-edited to try and make an entertaining show, not to show favoritism towards any one cast member. I kind of felt like things have been re-edited or maybe edited down. I almost feel like maybe the season had been cut down, and that's why certain things have been, edited out. But you guys let me know that in the chatterization. Um, you know, of course, they state that Kenya Moore has been very vocal about production, cutting her storyline, as we talked about yesterday, and editing out her salon event out of the final episodes. But the sources are saying that Kenya's event wasn't shown because it was dry and nothing happened, even with nearly the entire cast in attendance. Okay. Do I believe that the event was dry? I mean, I always talk about this. If your event if nobody ain't arguing and tossing and turning and fighting at the event, usually that means your event is not going to be shown. A lot of times that happens. It is what it is. People talk about, oh, my event was ruined, but at the same time, like for real, your event might have been ruined, but at least your event is shown. Hence, remember back in the day, Marlo's wig event, Kenya came through with a marching band. It ruined the Marlo's event, but it actually probably helped her event, especially because wasn't that the one where Nene didn't show up or something like that? Anyway, um, another reason for this is that potentially Kenya's salary is quite hefty, and Candy is the highest paid housewife across all franchises, according to the article. And so the network could get an entirely new cast for less than what they pay either Kenya or Candy. All right, so let's put that in perspective. As the article states, if both ladies are making 100,000 per episode, let's say for the sake of argument, that's the case, right? The entire cast, all right, um of the Real Housewives of New York reboot are making that for the entire season because they are first season cast. And y'all know first season cast, as Bethany stated, I think even Nene stated they made what, $7,000 for the season. Bethany stated she made around maybe that much per season, or at least for that first season. So you think about it, if the cast is making only $100,000, okay, for the season, it's cheap. And with the ratings not being as high as they used to be, I could see this potentially being an issue. But again, I mean, and then to be fair, if Candy is getting a second season of her spinoff, then they still maintain that relationship with Candy in another space. And I'm not sure what will happen with Kenya, especially because she has been so vocal about this season. All right. Now, B. Scott goes on to report that with rumblings of a new Real Housewives of Atlanta making the rounds, they wouldn't be surprised to see more of the ladies airing out any of their grievances on their way out the door. I'm not sure which one of them would do that. I would likely say we could potentially see something coming from maybe Sheree. I don't see Sheree complaining though. I see Sheree as being sort of grateful for having her job, but I don't know about y'all. Y'all let me know. Apparently the barely two-part reunion, dang man, like this is bad. Okay, this is not good news. Will air starting next Sunday. Barely. Okay, dang it, man, dang it. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I'm not happy about this. I feel like Atlanta is a staple, and I feel like if you really want to upgrade this show, then you upgrade the cast in terms of casting decisions. And I feel like you get rid of some people, you bring on some fresh people, you keep some of the core people, and I think that you have to move on with a different production team. Listen, I don't want production people to be out of jobs. I don't want anybody to be out of jobs or out of money. So, however you got to do it, trade them off to another city. But I feel like we need listen, they may need Carlos back over there on Atlanta, but I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below, and I will catch y'all in the next video.